Morning everyone, this is Bob Martin with rcsub.com and the Nautilus Dry Docks. Got another project that I'd like to share with you. This one's kind of different. It was a unique challenge for me, but I think it turned out alright. This is the Seaview Concept 2, which is available from DeBoer. You can order those online, and the idea behind this is that it is the modern interpretation of the Seaview from the classic TV series. So much more streamlined shape, certainly much more modern. I think it looks absolutely amazing. We chose, when we built this, to eliminate the windows. So these were all filled and painted. Has full LED lighting. I elected to model a little bit of a water line, so there's a stainless steel color on the upper hull, which would be above the water line, and then below there's a darker, sort of a more blue finish, and then at the water line just a little bit of a scum line that I modeled in there. And the weathering is very, very subtle. You can look at it, from the side a little bit. You can see the vertical, I guess, streaking or dishing in the hull. I got, like I said, LED lighting in the back, and then as you can see back here, there are no propellers, obviously. We went with something a little bit more unique for propulsion on this, and I'll show that to you in just 1 minute. There's a 6-channel radio system controlling it, although in this model only 2 are actually being used. So there's lots of room for expansion in the model to add other features, operational sound, operational remote lighting, heck, maybe even add torpedoes or missile hatches. All of that is certainly possible. This is the main drive unit, quite a tidy little package. Main drive battery is a 6400 milliamp lithium polymer battery, which is lots and lots for this model. 6.4 amps. We're getting in, tractor battery territory. 2 speed controllers, one for each motor, and then the receivers mounted in the nose cone there. On-off switch, and then the power leads. So I wanted to open this up, and we will show you what she looks like inside. Okay, here is the model opened up, and like I said, there's quite a few unique things that we did with this model. The first is the hold down system for the upper and lower hull. Now, this idea was taken from Dave Merriman and his interpretation of this boat. These are rare earth magnets, and they're all along the outside of the hull, and then you can see the corresponding ones in the upper hull, and these are actually incredibly powerful. And once you get the the hull within about 1/4 of an inch, it'll pull down hard enough to snap everything together. Now, I will say that as wonderful and unique as those are, I don't trust them enough to depend solely upon them, even though they would probably be fine. So to that end, added these pillars with bolts, and used stainless steel screws, machine screws, to hold the upper and lower hull together. So there's one there, and there's one mounted right here as well. Let's start our tour at the upper hull, and I guess we'll start at the back here. You can see some blue LED lights, and these are actually really cool. I think they shine down into these tubes, these drive tubes, these pump tubes. This section is clear, so it shines into it, and then also out the bottom as well, which gave you that blue glow that you saw earlier. Moving forward, you see the unique propulsion system that we went with, and These are actually a pair of Rule bilge pumps. So each one is facing in. They both have an intake in the center. And they draw from this center manifold that I printed on my 3D printer. So if you look down here, you can see the intake. There's one on the other side there as well. Water flows up into this central area, and then each pump draws in. Goes out this outlet, in this particular case, out the side into the pump manifold in the back, which is split in half. So this pump controls this outlet, and this pump controls this outlet. Water comes out here at an exceptionally good rate of speed, I should say, and hits these baffles. So if only one motor is running, you're going to get deflection in one direction or another. And if both are going, you get straightforward propulsion. And actually this moves really, really well on the water. If you take a look in the back, the baffles do not cover the entire height of the outlet, which allows water to stream past it in a straight fashion for thrust, but you do get the deflection off of those baffles there. So it actually works out surprisingly well. I'm really happy with it. This yellow material that you can see in here, a little bit untidy, is spray foam, and needed that because this assembly here is actually quite heavy. The twin pumps, and this is actually brass tubing, or copper tubing, so I needed to have as much flotation as possible. Here's the electrical connection for the two motors, 4 simple wires. And the drive unit just simply sits in this cradle, like so. The connection is made up in the back here, and then the simple Velcro strap holds everything down. So obviously you need more flotation foam than what you see here. So I've got these, and again this is more spray foam. And the reason I did it that way was because I wanted to get as much foam in here as possible, and cutting it from sheeting like I normally do would leave a lot of voids or unusable space, and I didn't want to do that. So these were sprayed into the hull with everything in place. I had plastic sheeting over top the bottom and top of the hull, and this expanded to fill all of the voids in there. So I've got that section, this section, and the rear section. And then once the upper hull goes on, everything gets tamped down nicely. LED power comes from this 9-volt battery compartment, and I elected to simply seal it with a little bit of silicone. The LED lights draw very little power, and as such that battery should be good for quite a long time. If and when it does run down though, you simply run a knife along the edge, pop it out, put in a new battery, and you're good to go. Lighting power comes through this simple connection. You simply undo it to turn the lights off. And the other advantage to that, of course, is that if you wanted to make this a display model, you just simply connect it. You can put it on your shelf and allow people to look at it inside the house without having to power up the main drive unit. Alright, just one last look at the model before I turn you over to some video I took of it at the lake for its sort of maiden voyages. Here you can see the stainless steel machine screws are in place. This model is all buttoned up and ready to go. And one last thing I did forget to mention, I got twin outlets you can see in the front there, and those are actually high-tech weapons upgrade for this particular model, and those are actually lasers, red lasers. They shine out there in front of the model. I'm not sure what they would look like at night, but certainly a very unique lighting system for the model. So anxious to see this thing operating in the dark. I think it would look really, really cool. But in the meantime, this is going to be sent off to the new owner, and hopefully he enjoys it. If you have any questions or comments, I always enjoy hearing from you. You can email me at any time at bob@rc-sub.com. By all means, check out my website, and hope to see you next time.
Moving around, in their eyes was an odd expression. Eyes too happy